What's up, family? Fitz, um, content creation coach. I help business owners create content that helps them reach their target audience. But today I want to talk about masculinity, uh, particularly from a black man perspective. But I want to talk about masculinity, and I'm probably going to do a live on this topic soon. But I see a lot of content circulating on the internet talking about masculinity and how you should attach it as a man to how much money you make, or uh, whether or not you're paying 100% of the bills when it comes to your family. And I want to put it into perspective so that there's a more nuanced conversation and that we're not losing sight of what masculinity actually is. So what I'll say is this. My opinion is that your paycheck does not determine how much of a man you are. If your girlfriend or your wife has to work in order to pay some of the bills and y'all split things 50-50, you're still a man. If you're a stay-at-home dad and your wife goes out and she's the breadwinner, you're still a man. If you lose your job and your wife has to hold things down, your girlfriend has to hold things down until you get back on your feet, you're still a man. Like, this whole idea that you're not a man if you're going 50-50 on bills, or you're not the primary breadwinner, that is a very destructive mindset, especially when it comes to black men who already have a struggle in the economic sector and being able to provide for our families. And particularly when we talk about single motherhood within the black community, if you are teaching black women that a man is only a man if they can pay all your bills, and you're teaching black men that you're only a man if you can pay all of her bills and your bills, then that is very destructive to the black family. So I want to call that out because I see that notion on a lot of podcasts. Oh, it's a man's responsibility to provide. It's a man's responsibility to pay all the bills and make sure she doesn't have to do. It's like, one, I don't know where these people are getting that notion from. Women throughout history have always helped. I know even in hunter-gatherer societies, I believe, women may not have went out and hunted in the same way that men did, but they still went out and did labor and intensive things. They were picking berries. They were doing plenty of other things that by today's standards might even be more laboring than some of the jobs and things that modern men do. But even if we look at just the percentages of households where women are contributing to the household income, that's significantly increased since the 1900s. It's been going up and going up and going up. And what I'll say also is that most people, right? Most households cannot really survive off of one income. Let's just be real. No matter how much motivation talk you give, no matter none of that stuff, right? Most households cannot survive off of one income. And it's funny because a lot of these content creators and a lot of these motivational people and a lot of these dating gurus and things like that will sit here and sell you these courses, or they'll tell you these ideas online, and they'll talk about wealth. Just buy my course and you can gain wealth. Just do this investment strategy and you can gain wealth. Well, let's say that you're a man and you're working and your income can cover about 80% of the bills, and her income will help with the other 20%, and there's still some left over. Well, her working, if there's teamwork involved, she can invest that money or pay down y'all's debt and things like that with the remainder of the money that she's making. Like, 2 income households do better than one. All right? 2 income households, the income is higher in the 2 income household than the 1 income household. Now, some people may say, oh, well, yeah, but if she's working and the kids and things like that, okay, it's a nuanced argument. But the point that I'm making is that if we're really talking about wealth, 2 incomes is going to help build that wealth in general better than 1. And I know there's going to be a lot of people that watch this and are like, oh, you're not a real man. You want your woman to pay for this and your woman to pay for that and blah, blah, blah. Listen, I don't have a problem with paying for everything, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend as if I don't know what the reality of the situation is. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say you're not a man if you can't pay 100% of the bills in your household. As a matter of fact, for most people, it doesn't even make sense to try that. It doesn't make sense for you to sit here, oh, I make $50,000 a year. Don't go work. Don't go work. Don't. Like, I saw something that I thought was so stupid. All right. There was I think it was D.L. Hughley. He was on Vlad TV, and he was saying that if your woman makes more than you, right? Like, let's say that you make 50,000 and she makes 80,000, that y'all should only live off of that 50,000. Y'all shouldn't use her money for anything. You should only live off of the 50,000. Now, I could see if we were doing that from the perspective of we're trying to maintain a certain lifestyle for budget reasons and for we want to set this money aside for something. But he was just talking about, as a man, you can't allow your woman to make more than you and y'all live off of her income because you're not a man, pretty much. But my thing is, like, if you're making 50,000 and your girl is making 100,000 and her 100,000 isn't factored into anything, it's just she's making that money, what is that 100,000 being spent on now? Y'all are sitting here living, $50,000. It's like y'all may be living in the hood now, or y'all may be, your kids couldn't go to as good of a school, or you're not able to provide certain things now because you're only trying to live off of that 50,000 versus the whole 150,000 that would be available if y'all were combining incomes, right? What's going to happen to that $100,000 of hers? It's just going to go where? See, it's flawed thinking. And this is why I say, your masculinity cannot be tied up in your paycheck, because the moment you allow your masculinity to be tied up in your paycheck is the moment that you are susceptible to higher rates of suicide. You're susceptible to depression. You're susceptible to all those things because now you don't have as much money, and you're depressed. Now your girl gets a raise and you're depressed. You may make 80,000 and she gets a raise and she makes 90,000 and I'm not a man anymore. Like, listen. You need to build a strong foundation of masculinity. Strong foundation. Do not tie your masculinity up in your paycheck. Do not tie your masculinity up in how much she makes, right? Your masculinity should be centered around your values, your beliefs, your actions, your mindset, like your character, who you are as a person. Those are the things that actually make you a man, right? Not your paycheck. There are plenty of men who don't make a lot of money and would need a woman's support if they're trying to raise a family and things like that, would need that extra income, who they have more character than these millionaires, billionaires, right? That these are the men that would give the shirt off their back and they have little. These are men that raise great sons and raise great daughters, that teach great character and teach all of the things that money can't buy. These are the men where their children want to be around them. They want to come visit for the holidays. They don't feel like they're being bought off and that everything's about materialism, right? So stop reducing masculinity to a paycheck. That's my input.